It ended in a flash period, bro. Punto, punto, punto. All I heard was Goldie saying, McGregor, what went wrong? Was it the fame, the money, the multiple businesses? For my bet, I'd say it's that 20,000 square foot monstrosity of a mega yacht. Just like the great Marvin Hagler said, it's hard to get up and train when you're sleeping in silk sheets. That's probably a paraphrase, but something to that extent. What really threw me off leading up into this fight was the niceties between Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor.
He's given so much back. I'm honored to share this octagon with this man. The respect is admirable for this man from me.
You got a friend in me.
I appreciate that. I've got a bottle of proper for you. I'd love to share that.
You got a friend in me.
And of course, talk to Dustin Poirier, who is waiting on his bottle of proper 12 Irish.
It was very, very weird to me, and it was completely out of character. Now, maybe not completely out of character, right? Because we've seen this happen in the cowboy fight, and so I didn't think too much of it. In fact, it was kind of nice to see that level of camaraderie displayed at the highest level of the sport. I mean, it sends a great message to the young up-and-comers that, listen, you don't have to be a sellout, and you don't have to behave like a CVS brand McGregor to succeed in the sport.
Get the fuck out of here!
You can be your authentic self and still succeed. But while we're on the topic of authenticity, no one fits the bill better than Dustin the Diamond Poirier. This guy never deviated from his truth. He took his losses like a man, and now at 32 years old, in the prime of his career, he's done it. He's managed to wake up from a 6-year-long nightmare and prove to himself, most of all, what he knew all along, that he was the better fighter. Think about it, to have to live and watch McGregor go from a contender to an international superstar, knowing damn well in your heart that was your spot. He should have been at the top. He should have been the one to go on and fight Aldo. Those were his accolades. That is his boat, most of all. Most of all, beyond everything else that I just said prior, that big boat, that's Dustin Poirier's boat. But listen, that's the magic of fighting, right? In a single instance, you can make sense of the world. In the fight game, you're only one punch away from changing your entire life. And shit, that's exactly what Dustin Poirier did. Dustin did what Mayweather couldn't do. He fucking flatlined Conor, KO'd him, left him in that Tempur-Pedic posture. I'm talking about that memory foam form. Listen, when you saw him laying on the floor, I want you to look at his hands. He was comfortable in that moment. That's why I say Tempur-Pedic. I was able to see it from the first takedown. I don't know about you guys while you were watching it, but I can just see McGregor's eyes. He had realized in that moment that it was a different fight. That was a different Dustin Poirier. And without getting too technical, I'm not going to get into the 45-degree angle change and look at his left toenail. It turned out a fucking Celsius degree. And no. Listen, I do a lot of technical stuff on this channel. This is not one of those videos. Dustin did outland Conor. He did outposition him. And most of all, he endured McGregor's best punch, the left-hand shot. And sure, it rocked Dustin, but it didn't floor Dustin like McGregor had hoped. And I think psychologically, this also played a major role in McGregor's demise in the fight. When you hit a man with your Sunday best punch, and he comes back twice as hard, it really does mess with you mentally. Like, why won't this guy die? Like, he got injected with that Tony Ferguson vaccine. Listen, the original intention for this video was not to make it about Conor in any way. A lot of people are making it about him and what he's gonna do next, his inactivity, outside engagements, or general lack of passion for the sport. I wanted to give credence to Dustin Poirier. It's a true-to-life redemption story, something we can all relate to. And most of us have made some bad decisions in life. We've lost in life. We've been the outsider, the guy or girl who worked as hard or harder than everyone else in the room, but never quite got our due. And in some ways, that's what Dustin represents, the eternal underdog. With all his humility, decency, and courage, he's fought back from the lowest lows and has redeemed himself. And listen, if you can't relate to that, God bless, things are going well in your life, but remember, if you live long enough, you will lose. You will be asked to pull yourself back up. And at that moment, you'll realize just how important stories like Dustin Poirier's are to the everyday person. It's that golden light we can all look at and go, anything is possible. So I want to give a quick shout out to Dustin Poirier for having the balls when most of us would have climbed beneath a rock and died after that first McGregor loss. He's done very, very well in rebuilding himself and coming back better than before. Not to mention all the great work he's doing with his charity. I think history is going to shine bright on Dustin Poirier. And listen, for McGregor, the man has more talent and fight IQ than any other lightweight I've ever seen. When he's on, he's in the fucking Matrix. And if he decides to come back, I hope he musters up that youthful form. That passion comes and goes though, and if you force it, you run the risk of becoming a caricature of your former self. But always remember this, if Conor doesn't come back, look at the bright side. He's rich as fuck.
Motherfucking weed to his hospital, man. Fuck that. Notorious. Uncle Poirier go pick up 10,000 from Dez, go take about like 20 G's from Gino. Notorious. Tell that motherfucker to get this nigga.